Get ready for some great music and great stories. Band in Seattle starts right now. Welcome to Band in Seattle, coming to you tonight from the Tractor Tavern. I'm Xander Denke, and with me is Aaron Roden, creator of the Airdate podcast on KairoRadio.com, to talk about tonight's band, Hobosexual.
Jokingly named as an explanation of their appearance, Hobosexual was founded in 2009, and the Seattle duo quickly made a name for themselves by playing insanely loud and energetic shows, fueled by cheap beer, virtuosic guitar solos, and an awesome sense of humor. I absolutely love these guys, and if you like classic, hairy rock and roll, you will too.
Get ready to have some fun. We'll be right back with Hobosexual.
Well, before Hobosexual, I was in a band called Ice Age Cobra. After Cobra, I was just hanging out with my friend in his basement, and we would just basically sit down there and drink whiskey and smoke cigars. And I've probably dressed the same, I don't know, since my mid-20s. And he looks at me and he goes, "Harwood, you Hobosexual emperor." He was basically just pointing out the fact that, I'm dressed the way I am, rather shabbily, and I've got my scotch. But I thought about it for a couple days, and I thought, hey, what if we call our band that? What I liked about the name, the more I thought about it, is half of my family is homosexual. And so I grew up in a really, really sort of, I guess as a kid, you'd call it diverse environment. I felt like the name was neat because growing up poor, I was also very poor. We were on welfare. And Jeff growing up poor, he was also on welfare. To me, it felt like a movement, the movement for the refuse, for the rest of us that are just struggling and trying in this ever-growing city of affluence, right?
Hey, my name's Jeff Silva. I'm the drummer for Hobosexual. When I'm not playing drums for the band, I run 4 or 5 businesses. We're here now at the Flying Apron Bakery, one of the businesses I own, and very heavily caffeinated at this point. Kill to Death. That is probably my favorite song. So we went down to LA, recorded with Alan Johannes of Them Crooked Vultures.
The solo for that song is the most nuts solo that I've ever attempted. I wanted to do a run-on solo where you think that it's done, but then it just keeps going. One of those ones where it's almost farcical as you're listening to it. You're like, oh my God, is it over? No, it's still going. So when we were cutting the solo for that, it turned into Alan literally listening back, and I'm playing the solo, and Alan's running around below me, switching out effects, and he's just yelling, "Go, go," like a cattle driver. And Jeff is standing off to the side, just sipping Johnny Walker, laughing hysterically, and we ended up with the solo to that song, which in my opinion is one of my favorite ones we've ever gotten on a record, and one of the most fun things I've ever recorded. BMX, that one was actually a song themed around the second record. The second record had a story behind it. It was actually like a concept album about a BMX riding freedom fighter. And that song was the theme song for the BMX riding freedom fighter.
I saw an ad in The Stranger for Vindaloo, which was Ben's band. They were looking for a drummer, and I went out to the rehearsal space, and I know Ben tells the story over and over.
When we were having drum tryouts, this was years ago when I was in other projects and I first met Jeff, this amazing drummer shows up. He had 65 cymbals and 87 toms, and he plays through the songs perfectly. It sounded like two Lars Ulriches in their prime or something, And Jeff comes in immediately after. Jeff had gotten there early because one thing about Jeff is he's always on time. And he walks in and all I can think is, oh no, this poor guy, he's been waiting outside, he's been listening to this. He drops his bag of hardware on the ground that he brought with him and he goes, well, I'm not getting into this band. Because he'd just heard the entire tryout before him, and that made us laugh. Well, then Jeff sat down at the kit, and it was within minutes that we locked in just perfectly, and that's because Jeff has an instinct and a way of understanding where things are gonna go in my weird brain that created a whole slew of bands that Jeff and I have worked in. We were in a band before Hobo called Gozer that we would show up to shows and we would make up the entire set for 40 minutes. And a lot of the riffs and things that you hear in Hobo came out of those jam sessions that we would just sort of impromptu do at these gigs. And that is essentially why to this day Jeff is, he's my right arm.
Go my hair. Who that? I yell aloud now. Taxman replies instead. And now I'm running out the back door, jumping over fences, over car. Ain't nobody gonna catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me. I got fleet feet.
I don't know how many years ago now, it was 3-4 years ago, we decided, his brainchild, but we decided, yeah, okay, let's do some action figures. That'd be great. They're actually, I believe, G.I. Joe action figures. They're the little action figures that we've repurposed, made little tiny clothing for, put beards on, long hair. So we made a few, and I thought, okay, we'll bring them to shows, but we're not gonna sell any. We sold them all. I mean, I think the first night we just went boom, right through all of them.
Earlier this year, Hobosexual released their 3-song EP entitled Good Bad Taste. That was the product of a recording session in the legendary 1180 Studios in LA and produced by the masterful Elaine Johannes. As an accompaniment to the EP, Ben also directed a short film/music video for the song Illegal Sensations that stars a 1980s era remote-controlled robot that Ben had refurbished. I highly recommend watching it. The video is a perfect storm of nostalgia and rock music.
Sounds like it. We'll be right back with Hobosexual.
Boogie Shuttle is based on a lot of like Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers serials. It's basically about people getting naked and partying in a space shuttle. I felt it was poignant.
Even though it seems like a very simple song, it's our hardest one to maintain tempo. Because we start out with the verse, and then all of a sudden when that chorus comes, you just want to go. So every time we play it, we both look at each other like, okay, keep it down, keep the tempo down, every time. And we always talk about it. Hey, we did good on Boogie tonight. We did good.
In my opinion, what makes somebody really, really great in specifically rock and roll, or let's say jazz, is someone who thinks between the notes. It's somebody who's not thinking about overplaying. They're not thinking about stylistically going in any one direction too specifically. They just play the correct thing, the exact correct thing for what's needed and what's needed only. Jeff has a better sense of restraint, tension, and the ability to just play. It's just that perfect pocket right in the middle of exactly what's needed. And then at the same time, he's got that great sense of intuition. I don't know, if a bug lands on my face while I'm in the middle of a solo, he knows to, hold the snare off for a second and look over and then come down on it. For some reason, he and I just, it works.
We fall, we say, we round, we roll. Sing gold-plated pain on a platinum-molded frame.
I started playing music, I think I was 9 or 10. My dad was a drummer, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know. All of a sudden I came home one day from school and there was a drum kit in the TV room, which was a little 10 by 10 room, and here's got this 12-piece Pearl kit. It's taking up the entire room. Growing up, I was an extremely shy child. What I would do is after school I'd come home and I'd be home at 2 o'clock, 2:30. My folks wouldn't get home till 5:30. So I'd play those drums from 2:30 till I saw the lights of the car pull in, and then I'd stop. Ben's just, I think he's a genius. I mean, there's endless amounts of content that comes out of that brain of his. I mean, it's just always going. He's always got some idea. I mean, it's just constant. He'll text me at 2 o'clock in the morning. What about this?
Muddy rain, dreaming of a time when money is good as gold.
The first time I ever picked up a guitar was Christmas when I was about 10 years old, and I promptly broke a string on it. It went up inside my fingernail, and I was scared of guitars for several years after that until I started to discover rock and roll. My first guitar teacher told me that I would never amount to anything as a guitar player. My first guitar lesson, I played the Star Spangled Banner upside down and backwards. And the reason I did that is because I'm left-handed, and I read the tablature that he'd given me upside down. So that was another year or two that I didn't touch the guitar. I got sick. I got type 1 diabetes and I was hospitalized and I was immobile for a while. And I picked the guitar up again and it, for some reason after that, just started coming really, really quickly.
Thank you. Oh, baby, get it on one time. You got your love and I got my peace of mind. Got this back count my sisters and your brother. Wear me no suit, don't choke me no tie, young penthouse lover.
Penthouse Lover is an old song. I don't ever play it the same way twice, and it's intentional.
Ain't got no business trying to impress your father. Wear me no suit, don't choke me no tie, young penthouse lover.
Because we don't have a bass player, there are 3 amplifiers. There's an amplifier off to my left, there's an amplifier directly behind me, and there's an amplifier off to my right. We don't use a click track, we don't use a laptop, we do everything live, we do everything on the fly. Now what happens is I have a station that I stand at with a bunch of different, basically spit and duct tape and baling wire pedals put together. I turn those outer left and right amps on and off again. And what that allows me to do is give the illusion of another guitar player coming on and coming off. Those amps also simultaneously carry a loop. So if I want to start laying down a guitar part in the middle of the show, I hit a button, I start laying the loop down, Jeff listens in very carefully, I pull my foot off the button at the exact correct rhythmic moment. If my foot moves at any time the wrong way, or if I play anything in that loop wrong, we're stuck with that.
And Ben's pretty good at it, but it's not always perfect. If he's off, it's off. So I have to hear it the first time. The first one sounds great. The second one comes around, and I have to listen and think, okay, is it short, is it long, is it right on? It's short, I gotta stutter, or I gotta throw in a fill, or I gotta pause, or I gotta jump ahead. And so sometimes it's terrifying.
You know, I'm not a religious person, and I have always heard people talk about church and about how when they go to church, they feel this unity and this connectivity and they're unified around God. I believe that what's really happening is people are unifying around goodness, around a vibe, around a sense of being able to let go and be themselves in an environment where they feel liberated. It's kind of crazy when they see a 270-pound guy jump off of a 4-foot stage, roll around on the ground, put a guitar over somebody. You know, I'm basically just a mass of sweat and hair at that point. Very agile though, like a large jungle cat. I just decided to do something, I guess a little out of the ordinary, and that was literally just hand the guitar over to the audience. And the guy that I'd handed it off to came up to me later, and he said, "Man, I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep the rhythm." And I said, "Well, you did a really good job." the people that come out to see our band are just really neat people. Our next goal is we really want to get a record deal. Which camera would I look into if I was going to look into a camera? Yeah, we would like to get signed to Sub Pop Records. We don't want any other record labels. We want your record label, Sub Pop. I don't care what we have to do. We will sign with you for free. And then we will make you more money than you will ever know what to do with. And we have some free action figures in it for you. I think realistically, our biggest goal is just to make a living.
That's it for tonight's Band in Seattle at the Tractor Tavern. If you want to hear more, check us out on bandinseattle.com, where you can hear full concerts and find links for more information about our bands and where they're playing next. Aaron?
Thank you. And to stay up with the latest on the music scene and hear exclusive interviews with bands such as Pearl Jam, Jurassic 5, Death Cab for Cutie, and many more, check out the Air Raid podcast on KairoRadio.com or at our website, air-raid.net.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching. Join us next week for more great music and great stories on Band in Seattle.